you got a bigger platform that enabled you to do that with the talk show.
Absolutely.
You landed big interviews. Mike Tyson, when he was in the Indiana jail, you convinced him to give you that interview. He'd been convicted of rape.
Right, and the only group that had interviewed him in prison was 60 Minutes. So we were the only one who got that interview. And back then, his lawyers were fighting it crazy. But now, a lot of people don't know. I happened to be at it was Black Student Union Convention, or no, it was back then we were holding conventions across the country in Indiana.
In Indiana.
And I was there and present when Mike Tyson met Desiree Washington. I was in the room.
So you had known and followed the people involved in the story. So when you got there to interview him, because now in talk shows, people try to negotiate behind the scenes what you can and cannot ask. And that's why a lot of guests we've not booked, because if you're going to talk, you're going to talk. Right. So you were there and you said, we're going to talk.
Absolutely. And Mike agreed to it. And part of the reason why was because I said what I was going to do is I did another show right after that interview where we did a mock trial, a separate trial on Mike Tyson and whether or not he was guilty. And I mean, I know the Me Too movement is, and we know Mike has admitted himself that he literally was one of those people who was a perpetrator. He's admitted that along the way. And back then, Mike was an aggressive perpetrator and violent to women, and he literally maybe did some things that you're not supposed to do. But in this particular situation with he and Desiree Washington, there were so many facts that never came out. So on our show, we literally did a mock trial and presented other evidence. And our jury came back and found him not guilty. Not that, I'm saying that's what.
Well, you listen, that's what you did on the show at the time. Again, I asked Ricky the same thing. In 2020, do you think you could still do that kind of show?
I think right now it's more important for us to start digging back down and reaching back and doing shows like that to present those stories of people who have no voice. We live at a time right now where everybody's gotten so caught up in, the narcissism of this thing that we've forgotten. We believe the hype that we're told about how divided we are, but we've forgotten what truly connects us.
Going back just to when you were on the speaking circuit, to the daytime show, to what you do now, the power of using the platform in the right way.
Absolutely.
That's a big responsibility.
It's incumbent upon us. I mean, again, Ricky made a really unbelievable comment when she said, we were invited into people's living rooms every single day.
Yeah.
And with that comes a responsibility to, I think initially when the talk shows all started back then, we went after the most salacious common denominator. But then realized very quickly, I did a show that on our producer's desk, it said, we don't belabor what happens. We try to figure out why things happen and come up with solutions.
Absolutely.
And that's what the key is. And so I'm very proud of all the work that we did on that show.
Well, the legacy stands and it continues with the work you do. You're not done talking yet. No. You're not done fighting for our military. That's right. And that's why we love you.
The Military Makeover airs every Friday on Lifetime, but I'm also working on some projects to help traumatically brain-injured soldiers right now. I've been working on this now for 10 years.
Well, come back and talk to us about it.